Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what we've all been waiting for, the finals of the Nations Royale here at GLL. I am Toby, joined by Saint, and we have had the pleasure of guiding you through all the action that's been taking place so far. And Saint, we said that maybe upper bracket finals could be the showcase of the grand finals, but I feel like today with Turkey still here, we got Russia, we got Ukraine as well. No matter which three teams go up against one another, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, we've lost all of Western Europe now, so it's just the two CIS representatives versus the partly Middle East, partly European representative of Turkey. But yeah, I mean, I think we've seen all three of these teams play against each other already, and all the times, yes, some of them have been 3-0s, but they've been really close ones. It's always been down to the wire, and there's pivotal moments in each game. So, I mean, first off, this best of 5 between Ukraine and Russia is going to be incredible, and then whoever wins going to that best of 7 versus Turkey, we're in for a treat.
Now that we're here, now that we're getting started, you can see as well the vetoes has been done already down below. We're starting off with Vikendi. It's a BO5 to begin with, and then the grand final will be a best of 7. Right, but just right off the bat, prediction for first game. Go.
First game, or well,
first BO5, yeah, or the BO5.
Ooh, I think Ukraine's going to take it, but I don't think it's going to be 3 maps.
You got to give me an estimate, a number.
3-1 Ukraine. That's my gut feeling. I feel like Vikendi might go the way of Russia. I think we've seen them do slightly better on it. But I think strategically speaking, Ukraine's looked slightly better in the tournament so far. So Erangel and Miramar should go their way. And Ukraine's been looking really good on Sanok. So I think a 3-1 in their favor is what I'd expect. But overall, it should be a really close series.
I like the call. I was gonna go 3-1 to Russia, so maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see. You can see the brackets here and see what all these guys have been finding their way through to get to where they are now. This being the upper brackets. Turkey already managed to beat Ukraine once. Ukraine, they were fighting through the I guess B bracket or whatever you'd call it, down on the bottom side. So they have not faced Ukraine so far in this tournament. Turkey defeated Russia 3-0. I feel like Russia, alongside Ukraine, to be fair, has pretty much been 3-0ing their way through the tournament so far as well. So, I mean, not completely. I think it was a 3-1 against Netherlands, but it's been a close one all the way through for sure. And I don't know. I mean, it would be fun to see Ukraine against Russia just because we haven't seen that yet. But I also feel like Russia kind of wants a rematch.
And we've seen both a Turkey versus Ukraine and a Turkey versus Russia so far. Both times has been 3-0 Turkey's favour. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to suggest that this should be a close one, because they've both been destroyed equally by Turkey. You know, we saw in the upper bracket final yesterday how dominant Turkey were. So yeah, I expect this could be a close one. We see that.
Oh yeah, they did play it.
They played yesterday.
They did play yesterday. Yeah. Jesus Christ. So, okay, yeah.
Turkey's played and beat both now. Which suggests to me, I think
the fact that beat, but the Ukraine slaughter was like a full-on massacre.
Yeah, it was just a comfortable 3-0 both times for Turkey, which suggests to me that maybe Ukraine and Russia's on the same sort of level. But the fact that Ukraine, you know, they did make it to the upper bracket final compared to Russia, which, I mean, there's the caveat of they were the team that faced Turkey in the semis. But you know, Ukraine have had a slightly better run in the tournament so far. Yes, they're at the same level now. But I think just because they were in the upper bracket final, you have to come into this thinking maybe they're the favourites.
Yeah, I can't help but agree. I mean, I don't see a world where Turkey don't win this. But then again, it is PUBG, and if there's one thing I know, that is to sometimes just take my predictions, wrap them up, and throw them far away, because they tend to be way off. So who knows? Maybe either Ukraine or Russia will indeed go out and upset the at least expected to be winning a team of Turkey. Now we are started on Vikendi. We have been, I don't know if you'd say blessed with, but we've been granted southern circles, if not always, but then for most of the time. And I'm thinking, what about an eastern island circle now? Make it a little difficult to get to, make the terrain play a kind of nuisance to the players as well. Don't just have like so open, you can do what you want. Where would you like to see this go?
Well, the eastern side is the only other circle we've seen in Nations Royale. It's been south, all bar one, where we had one eastern circle, which I think was Ukraine, Netherlands. But I want to go all the way up north. I want to go towards where the Abbey is, you know, where Mount Kresnik used to be. That area of the map, I think, really suits the way Nations Royale plays out, because there's a lot of ridges you can play on, you know, a lot of cover you can move around. So I kind of feel like that would be a really fun place to see a big battle go down.
True. That could be that's what I'm thinking too. There are a lot of individual places that are really good. The newly added, I guess you can say, train depot, train station-esque place is kind of like a TDM map in itself, and then you have the basement underneath that as well. If we went anywhere close to that, that would be absolutely insane. I think that would make for a really interesting finishing area too. But we've seen it time and time again where it's not really always that the circles depend too much, or have too much of an impact on where the fights take place, especially on the maps of like Vikendi and Sanok.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, most teams come into Vikendi and Sanok just expecting one big fight to happen. Right? We saw yesterday that massive fight between Hungary and I think it was Ukraine that happened on the southern hill right on the coast, where it was literally, I think it was 20 versus 28 or something like that. There's this massive fight that broke out. We saw the same thing in the upper bracket finals. So Vikendi kind of plays out where the first few circles are, poking and prodding, trying to find the weak point. And then the team that's in a bad place just crashes that weak point and we have a big fight break out. So I want to see which team can recognize where that point is, first off, and which team commits their entire team to that gunfight. I think is really going to be the success on this, more so than getting the circle.
That does, that makes sense to me as well. Now I gotta ask you, because we were sharing all the facts yesterday, and I'm gonna start off easy. I'm gonna go easy on you with the first one here. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Which country of Russia and Ukraine has the highest population growth since 2018?
Population growth. Ooh, Ukraine. Look at the Ukraine.
That's true. 0.04 up against minus 0.1.
I think the whole of Europe's doing really badly population-wise.
Yeah,
because we're all going down.
We're all dying.
We're all getting old. Well, you are at least.
I am. I'm nearing my 30. That's my big 3-0. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting.
So 10 years ago.
That was the first one. Which of the two countries has the most people aged 0 to 14 based on 2019?
Just the most people. That'd be Russia, because the population's like 4 times the amount. So.
No, I mean compared to like a percentage-wise, compared to the.
I'd still say Russia.
And now I lost track of the statistic. God damn it! Where did I put it? No.
Nothing news. I think we're getting into the game.
But I think you might be right. And in any case, we are going to get into the game in just a short moment. It's just to kind of build up the hype, build up the rivalry. Not that these two nations, I feel like, need all the introduction in terms of rivaling one another over the course of the last century. But there's still some fun still some fun statistics to go over. Which of the two okay, this is a tricky one. Which of the two nations has the most inhabitants that are born and raised in their respective country in percentage? Like settlers to and from, kind of.
Ooh. Well, I mean, technically, Ukraine hasn't existed for very long. So it wasn't a country 20 years ago. No, 30 years ago. So I would say Russia.
That is incorrect. It's Ukraine. It's 77.8 versus 77.7.
I suppose it depends if you count Ukraine, the SSR back in the day.
I guess. I can't tell you. It's just statistics, and I'm reading them off right here. Look at this, Russia and Ukraine. You can see the rosters right here. Both of them stacked with very, very, very talented PUBG players, making for what you said would potentially be a 3-1 Ukraine, and what I would say could potentially be a 3-1 Russia.
Yeah, and I think we look at both these teams now, and they're pretty evenly balanced. I think there's maybe slightly more depth on the Russian team. I would say there's probably more players in there with international pedigree. But then you look at Ukraine and you think of the players on that team. There's a lot of players there that have been playing in the PCS, PEL, Contenders League as well, back when that was a thing. So there's I think a really strong core on both teams, which is why I think it's going to be so close. That depth maybe on Russia might help, but I think the fact that Ukraine has sort of had the ascendancy recently between the two countries, at least at the top tier level, with the Northern Lights team being so prolific, and also with Unity with Orange. Those two teams have been. I think Ukraine's done slightly better with that core recently, which is why maybe the depth on Russia will be outweighed by the more recent success of Ukraine.
let's see. We are headed on over to Vikendi. It's going to be the first map of this best of 5 semifinals. Ukraine jumped out early on. Well, somewhat early, I should say, because it doesn't seem like anyone really cares to go towards the west side of the island.
They're contesting each other. No, are we going to have a 32v32 in Castle, please?
Oh, please.
This is how we're going to start the
It's actually happening.
Oh.
It's actually happening.
I was not expecting this.
That's amazing. I love it. Everyone, get to the castle. Get to the castle. King of the castle. King of the castle.
What do you think? 5 FPS? Maybe 10 if you're lucky?
Maybe.
It's going to be brutal on the computers. But it looks like we're going to have a brawl.
Are we going to see the record beat for fastest finished game ever?
What was it? 6 minutes, 4 seconds.
6 minutes and 4 seconds, I think, was the. They're all landing in the field.
Oh no.
Are they going to do a fist fight? Wait, they're actually lining up. I like this. They're actually lining up. It's a full-on like hooligan fight, this one.
Some of the Russian players haven't got the
No
memory.
weapons, no nothing. Full-on proper hooligan fight here.
There's some
Orange
players that
Snow
have
is
stuck off.
standing in front, making sure they're all lining up perfectly.
Is Drainus cheating? He landed in the castle. Has he got a gun? Because if he has a gun, then
maybe he's the referee that like has to fire the gun in the air to signal that the battle can start. You know, he's the one with the battle horn, like the big dwarf battle horn. Battle is on the front one side. Orange Snow is in the front one on the other. Captain,
we're gonna have a battle of the champions.
Shake hands in the middle. To shake hands in the middle. It seems. I love how Brady just casually ran up and found a level 3 helmet, and then came back down again.
Oh, well, that's cheating because you can't get one-shot headshot then with a fist bump.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can get one-shot headshot either.
You can with the jump punch.
Oh yeah, true. Batulin and wait, are they actually gonna do this?
The champions battle.
Is it gonna be 1v1 in the middle and the winner takes it all? Is that what's gonna happen? Is it gonna be the captains fighting on the for the honor of their nations? It's like Troy, you know, the movie with Brad Pitt, all over again. Who's gonna do like the jump behind the opponent? Also, who is David and who is Goliath in a punch out between Batulin and Orange? Now, here comes the train. Is that the marker for the fight to start? It seems like it is. The fight has
But Doozy has a
started.
shotgun. Why has the Doozy got a shotgun?
Because maybe he's gonna shoot in the air.
I hope
Signal
so.
they can fight. I don't know. Yep, he's aiming it in the air. He's ready. What are we watching? Wait, someone just got... Oh, he punched his teammate. That's unfortunate. Batulin's running around in the middle. It seems like they're all good to go. Maybe he had to run over and do like in-game comms, you know, to kind of coordinate with the opposing side how this is going to go down. I mean, they are wasting a lot of time. They need to finish this in 3 minutes if they want to beat the record. You can see Hello Senpai's jumping around, trying to spread some love before the inevitable death of at least 32 people. That's the shots. You heard it. That was there. The shots off, and here we go. The full-on fist fight is coming in. Russia versus Ukraine. This is better than anything I've ever seen before.
all this analysis we were doing, and this is how we start the night off. Russia and Ukraine with a brawl, a street fight on the. Well, it's not even a street; it's a river fight, and the kill feed's getting
I cannot tell. I mean, there are so many knocked players and so few flushes that it's really hard to tell who's ahead. But it seems pretty even so far.
Safe for us.
Also, how the hell do you keep track of anything? You're just running around and punching literally everyone you see.
I can't even tell who's in the lead. I think it might be Russia for now. There's a lot of Ukrainians knocked.
There are so many knocked people. Chris is running for his life. No, stay away. You have no health. You have no
the Superman
nothing.
punch. He got the Superman punch off and one-shot someone on full HP. It's in.
There are so many knocked players everywhere. Orange is still alive. The captain is on his feet trying to fight it out. Oh, elite player's down to no HP. One punch should be the death of him. But no, Orange falls down as well.
I've got absolutely no idea who's in the lead.
Flush.
Someone's got to be calling safe for us right now. But their battle is going to try and flush them out. The kill feed, I think Russia's leading. I think. But,
it seems like it, but to be fair, I can't really tell. No, now you can see Dannyman is getting pushed straight into the... there you go. There goes Marcos.
I just need someone now.
Russia's ahead.
I just need like one Ukrainian player who's just ran off and found M249 and just comes in and kills them all.
He is making a run for it. He's trying. Gaff, where do you go?
Is he the last
All
one
your
up?
friends are getting flushed.
I think he might actually be the last one standing. And on 10 HP,
yes,
I don't think
it seems like it.
I don't think he's low
weapons as well. Uh-oh. Gaff got to keep running. He's literally the last player. And Quiz is like, guys, I have him. He's over here. He's over here. Just waiting for the car to come in.
I don't. I mean, how do you color cast this?
Is this a sentiment to both the teams?
Oh.
Is this a sentiment to both teams realizing they ain't gonna be able to beat Turkey regardless, so they're just gonna have fun with it? I don't know, but that was a record. 5 minutes and 47 seconds. That's a new record. I liked it. I liked it. It's also the whole, like, the way that it was set up. Meet, stand across from one another. You have a doozy stand in the middle. Once you hear the dual barrel go off, that's the sign that the brawl is on. Very I get brawlish setup. I like it.
But I wonder if we're going to see this across every map, because I was never expecting something other than Sanok to be the record for the quickest game, because Sanok is so much quicker. But what was that, 5.5 minutes in the end?
That was a 5-minute game.
Just speedy, wasn't it?
So we're gonna have a break ready. I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to say coming into Miramar, but having just seen this, I do not know what we're in for. Is it going to be a runway brawl again? I don't know. We will see in just a moment, guys, because we're going to take a short break, get everyone on the servers, and then we'll see you again on Wrangle in just a few. 5 minutes and 47 seconds is what it took for Russia to punch out the Ukrainian team in what I think surprised, both of us, probably production as well, and I would assume a lot of the viewers too, because I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, we spent like 10 minutes talking about the strategy we might be seeing coming out, the play style we might see from both teams, and they just go for a 32v32 fist fight. I was never expecting that, but it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Are you
a martial arts person in any way, shape, or form?
I did judo when I was like 6. And then,
okay, so did you notice any techniques maybe that were utilized in the fight here? Any like Krav Maga, brawl fight?
I'm saying I saw a lot of Superman punches connect.
Yeah, Superman punching. I saw some good jabs here and there. I don't know any
5 kills.
Like uppercuts and boxing terminology. I think uppercut and jab and hook. A hook is something. I think those are the 3 that I get. Yeah.
How do you get 5 kills?
I mean, that's a flusher, right? He's like the flusher.
Oh, but you don't get kills for flushing. You'd have to.
No, I guess not. I guess not.
So he's not 5 people.
That's just a good boxer, and he knows what's up.
He's got a strong right hand, clearly.
Yeah.
It's come out and worked out. But I mean, I kind of feel like that when that sort of thing happens, if you get the initial, let's say 4 or 5 down, suddenly you've got you've got 2 people on one here or there, and you can just start to snowball right in a fist fight. I mean, I'm trying to color cast or analyze a fist fight here, but I kind of feel like that's the way you. That's the reason why Russia won. We saw that I think the first 4 or 5 kills went their way, and then Russia, they at that point, it becomes so hard for you to 1v2 fist fights, because realistically you're just getting punched from both angles when you're trying to hit one guy.
Now I'm looking at this and
boring.
I was gonna say, where are they going? Where's the fight? Where's the battlefield? But no, not this time around. They're gonna spread it out. It seems that it may be, or may become a more normal, I guess, normal 32 versus 32, because we have normal in that. I don't know. But it does seem like the southern side will be taken by the Ukrainian team. North will be mainly controlled by Russia. And then we'll see in a little while, in another 25 seconds, where exactly the circle will go. But I have to say, I mean, if it's going down to military now, you have to pretty much already consider Ukraine your absolute favorites for this match.
Yeah. If it goes to military, it's just 1-1. We might as well just end the game and move on. And just go to map 3, because it's so difficult to make a way to the island, especially given the control of the bridges the Ukraine has. I'm surprised we didn't see more of a contestation for the Ferry area, because the CIS is very well known for that, right? Especially, I think, Navi, Unity, I think 7 back in the day, they all went towards that area of the map. Zoom, you are not long for this. Oh, he's got a barrel, I tell a lie. Can he reload in time? I think he can. And all of a sudden, it's an equal gunfight. Can he land the shots? He can. gets enemy down, or Ivashka, I suppose it is. 19 HP in a dream, but that was a lucky barrel find.
There you go. Might as well use the last ammo while you're at it. Circle goes towards the northwest, splits the river in half, and I guess I should say the river splits the land in half.
I kind of feel like on this,
no Moses players here.
I think you have to just commit to the north, right? On this, realistically speaking, you've probably got like a 60, maybe 70% chance it's going to go up there. And if
You say that, but there is no shifting away from water in phase 4, so I don't know.
Are we just going to get a river ending? I've seen one. I think it was in Wingman last season. We had one where it literally ended 3 meters.
Oh, that was you and me casting it too. I remember that. It was down like literally on the bridge.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Where it was one of the guys were hiding behind the crate in the water for like the entire end game. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if we're going to get something similar again, where it sends us on that. I kind of feel like the game
before that. You'd think.
Yeah, I mean, you're not expecting to get beyond phase 6, I think, ever in Nations Royale. We've seen it, I think, once this tournament. But that was owing to the fact that both teams were sort of stuck in a field and couldn't do anything. But I'm curious whether, because we don't have that fourth shift, the circles tend to favor staying around water. I tend to find, it really seems to like that river. It likes to cause those 50-50s around 3-4 to really piss everyone off. So I expect maybe we'll see one team sort of focus, try and take Cube. I think try and take the hill by the Western Bridge as well. Maybe take control of Georgia Pole to give them a way to go north and south. And I think those bridge controls might be the sort of defining point of the game. Having a way to get to both sides. But then there's also the caveat of if one team is splitting half and half, and the other team just commits their full team north, right? And then it just goes north. It becomes so difficult to break through that because half your team's basically not there. So maybe you sort of have to hedge your bets on the northern circle here if you want to win it out.
Yeah, that could be the play to make. I'm sorry for just randomly throwing babushka in it, but that was at least in Denmark they call babushka dolls.
Same here. Yeah.
And I think babushka in Russian means grandmother. So.
Yeah, it's old lady, I think.
Yeah, I do believe that they call like when you refer to your grandmother's babushka. What is a grandfather then? Babushko? I don't know.
Admittedly, I don't know any Russian, so I know like 3 words.
God damn it! Why are you even here? You're supposed to be my translator.
I mean, I'm English. We don't learn other languages.
Oh, that is true. You just take over countries.
We do. We were very good at it, actually. But...
There was a time once.
Yeah, back in the day.
Let's see. Crates landing. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be the lucky recipient. That's going to be Hello Senpai jumping around, boink. Gets himself a crate. That's a lot of loot.
Extended quick draw. There's 2 orms in there, actually, so he's going to have a lot of ammo. And he's got all the attachments, I think, from that one crate for his orm.
Yes.
So he's loving life. There's an Org as well. And I personally think Org Orm is the best setup you can have in the game because the Org is almost as good as a mini at tap firing. At least up until about 200 meters, where the damage drop off slightly more on the Org. But you can basically replace the usage of DMR by having an Org, and then the Orm, the big green gun as it's called, to start slapping people when they're running around.
I love how I just had to Google Translate how you said grandmother. And grandmother actually is babushka. You know what grandfather is?
It's gonna be something completely different, right?
Dead. Just D-E-D. Dead.
Dead.
Dead. Not babushko, but just dead.
Talking of dead, Russia right now have lost one player. I think it wasn't Pashka. So where did we see that kill? My brain. We didn't see it, I don't think, right?
I was Google translating. I must admit, I wasn't.
I've been staring at the map stream. I've been noticing that Ukraine has sent like half their team around the eastern side. I think they're hedging their bets on that northern shift. I expect maybe they're going to come all the way around to directly where the northern edge of the circle, where you can get up towards the what's called the pylon hill.
Yeah,
and also maybe towards the plain. But I think the plain looks like it's going to be taken over by Russia first. Who also, I think, are going to try and control a lot of the bridges. They've set up at least this bridge here. They've also got a lot of players by Cube and that sort of area. So maybe they're going to try and set up the bridges, although looks like they're rotating away in poor Quizzy.
Aww. I mean, you can see that all of Ukraine is trying to rotate east around, like all the way around. Well, most of them are going around Yasnaya. The remaining will go over towards the bridge on the northeast side, and you can see them kind of flooding in now towards the circle. you would have to think that like no matter where this circle goes, Ukraine is going to be beat to the circle by Russia. So I think a lot is going to come down to where this next one goes. Because should this next circle go south, which it probably won't, but it still could, then you're probably screwed. There's no Ukrainian players in the circle as of yet, and I don't know where they go to play from because they need to wait for one another.
Yeah, I think now they want that hill next to Gusiara, just to the west. I think whichever team gets control of that puts themselves in a really good position later on because it's a really strong position to hold on to. You get a lot of vision on the valleys next to you. The circle does like to go over there, and B also because of the vision you get, you can use it to rotate later on. But it kind of feels like for now Ukraine are going to focus on the eastern side. That's another kind of saucy crate. 2 MK14s. Oh. Would you run a double MK14? I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like I would from that crate.
That was the first kill. I remember now. It was when Zoom killed the.
Of course, yeah.
Enemy inside the compound.
Oh, my brain stopped working for a little bit.
That's what started the whole babushka discussion. That's right.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with MK14s, you've got one of the best guns at close range when it's full auto, and also how good it is at tapping. You kind of just want to run 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no reason not to be fair. Yeah. I mean, that being if the rest of the team allows you to get 2 of the guns.
Yeah, to take both. Yeah. I suppose maybe you want the AUG if you're good with them all. So you can just start spraying. Go on, light them up. Like that's a really rough position to be on that crate because I think the bike's lost his tire. So now they're gonna have to try and run up the hill, and the Hexecutor as well is gonna run over. So there's an opportunity here where Ukraine can start to open up a bit of a man advantage by killing these guys if they can find them.
Yeah, and they need to do just that. They need to get kills. Hex is trying to make this run around, and you can see a lot of Ukrainian players are starting to make their way into the circle from that north side. I still kind of hope for the memes that this one goes south.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. Oh, it's good. It's still gonna have the river in. Obviously, I don't think it can really go south anymore. But there's a possibility we get the wingman circle, as I'm gonna call it, the one we had before, because this was pretty much exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit more south, but now it becomes really difficult for Ukraine, where they need to just get control of this hilltop on the western side, because that's the only way. It's the only entry really for them to get into the circle. You have the sort of the spindly finger that Russia kind of has control of, that just comes along the side of Georgia Pole that you can use to get fairly central in the circle. But first, you need to take control of the big western hilltop. And right now, it kind of feels like Ukraine's not going over there.
Yeah. I can't really make up my mind on what Ukraine can do from here. You have to crash, right? We agree. You have to crash something.
Well, I think you take that west hill and you work your way, across the finger. You can get on top of it, yeah. And then you just take the fight with, that group where Wades is. Because realistically, you're not going to be fighting the full team. So if you can stack that, if you can take a really big fight there, and that's I think your win condition is where you get a man advantage from that initial fight. But if Russia can recognize that this is happening, if they can commit a lot of players here to the counterplay,
or hurt them,
it's going to be rough for Ukraine.
Yeah, they're trying to make their way around. As you can see, Vanos has been forced back. I mean, I think he's realized that the entirety of or at least the vast majority of the Ukrainian team is up here.
Yeah, but it's whether, does Russia want to commit to this, or do they want to fall back and fight another day? Because right now they've got a lot of people still towards sort of the southeast area of the northern side of the water.
They're sending it.
I mean, Ukraine's fully committed to this, but I don't know if Russia quite is. Players are coming. It looks like we're going to try and back off, but they get the initial kills, and they're going to push the man advantage in their favor for now. Whether they can keep that up once the full force of Ukraine turns up, I'm not sure. But at least for now, it's looking good for Russia.
They need to hold off as best as they can, at least for a little while longer, to allow for the teammates to push up. And that's a circle that you want to see if you're Ukraine, that's for sure. It's gonna make this more winnable, I would say. Getting down from that hill can be, or will be probably, extremely difficult. But now with that shift allowing them to stay up for a little while longer, maybe that can turn the tide.
Yeah, I think now this what I call the finger that we have Draenus and Pokemon Odoi on, that sort of sticks out from this hill, becomes really difficult to play because you realistically can't play on the south side of it with the Ukrainian players on the hilltop, because you just get lit up. So you can play on the north side, but once again, those players we see sort of the northern edge trying to take this compound off. If Ukraine can get control of this, they get a lot of control of the circle. This is the really important fight.
Ooh,
nades everywhere.
Nade.
Well, it's all Russian so far.
To the compound, it's pretty simple to hold off opponents. Look at all the utility. Oh my god, the triple kill just came in. That's teammates killing one another. No, Ukraine, a lot of damage.
And that car, I think, is going to kill. There's so many Ukrainians knocked here. Russia's come for the counter-attack on this compound. They're holding on to it for now. And the main fight on the hill's broken out as well. Russia's also committed players up there. And the kill feed is just all theirs right now. Suddenly a 12-man advantage out of nowhere.
The boom shot his teammate. That's all they have in the kill feed. It's when Ukrainian players kill one another. That's really unfortunate, to say the very least. So I mean, I believe half the damage being done in that entire engagement to begin with was Ukrainian players damaging one another. That's really unfortunate. I feel like that's game over already.
Yeah, that compound crash
coming back from this.
When they crashed that compound, it came at such an awful time because Russia had finally committed to this hilltop to take the gunfight. And about half the Ukrainian team backed off to go and try and take the little compound on the hill. So suddenly it was 20 versus 10 on the hilltop, and maybe 15 versus 10 in that compound. It really wasn't favorable gunfights. It was really low percentage fights, right, for Ukraine, rather than just taking the one on the hilltop. And now suddenly a 29-0 win from Russia out of nowhere. The whole Ukrainian team gets slaughtered in about 30 seconds.
Absolute butchering. Again, I like the idea of Ukraine saying, okay, we cannot just sit around here, because even if we're inside this circle, if we're forced out of the next one, we're just allowing for your opposing team to get that much better positioning, and then we're kind of delaying the inevitable. If we push now, we know there are still some Russian players repositioning and doing stuff like that, so that maybe we can get the fight going our way, but as you saw, it clearly didn't really work out the way they wanted it.
Yeah, as you said, I get why they went for that compound on the eastern side, but it was so awkwardly timed with the push by Russia onto the hilltop. I think if they just kept all their team on that hill, they probably could have held on at least, at least to a circle, at least traded pretty much 1 for 1, and got towards the later circles. Yeah.
That one right there rolling down, that's the killer.
Yeah,
that's the one that's the triple knock coming in, or maybe it was just before, but there was like a triple or quad nade knock coming in from a Ukrainian player knocking all his teammates. That's that was the entire second car coming in filled with people. It just went down instantly.
Yeah, and that's the one really big risk of when you have a nade in your hand and you're cooking it. If you get knocked, anyone around you is just dead. They can't do anything about it. So it's really unfortunate because they sort of crashed in and then they couldn't really go anywhere because they got on the wall. They made stage 1. And then it was like, where do we go from here? They couldn't run inside because it was Molotovs. They couldn't really stay outside because they were getting shot in the back. And just as soon as those nades started raining in, it was all over for Ukraine.
It was really damn difficult. And once again, Russia proved to be the victors, this time around with guns. Who would have thought? I was expecting a little more of a fun ending to that one. But we'll see. We'll see if they're going to go back to the fist fighting once we do go to Miramar, or if it's straight on, full on, proper competitive engagements. We will see, but we are going to take a short break before that happens, so do stick around and we'll be back in just a moment. We've seen a fist fight. We've seen a gunfight. What's next, Luke?
Cars, destruction derby.
Fine. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
Well, we're on Miramar. We could do the death run, with the track.
True.
We could do a race to see who wins. The first guy to make it around the whole island wins the game. But what do we say? Game 1 we can sort of write off as being a bit of a meme. Yeah. Game 2. I think Russia kind of got a little bit lucky with the circles, right? Yes, Ukraine, I think there was a way they could have won that. Taking the hilltop, taking a big gunfight there rather than splitting up at the end. But realistically, they were in such a difficult position with the circles. So I'm still coming into this phase, into this game 3, thinking that there's a chance for Ukraine to turn up and sort of right the wrongs of those first 2 games. And I'm not 100% sure we're going to see a 3-0.
No, I could also imagine Ukraine getting a bit of a foot back in, but I don't see Ukraine winning 3 games in a row now, to be fair. The way that Russia's been playing up against Ukraine, both today but also previously, has been impressive, I think is the right word to see. And it's like, I mean, even though Russia and Ukraine, to be fair, has both struggled against Turkey, I still feel like the way that Russia plays, it doesn't counter Ukraine, but it works really well against it.
Yeah, we said at the start that the Russian team is probably a little bit deeper. You know, there's a little bit more skills spread out across the whole team, whereas maybe the peak of Ukraine is slightly higher. And I think maybe that's what we saw in the previous game, where those individual players from Ukraine couldn't really have that much of an impact. I mean, we look at when we saw the players on the team there, I think Orange had 0 kills. I think Zoom had 0 kills as well. There's a bunch of, really well-known Ukrainian players that are just not having an impact. I think Perfectix only had 1. So the fact that those players aren't having an impact on the game so far is, I mean, I'll say that at least on game 2 is why I think they lost that one. And maybe that depth is why Russia are coming in and basically why they might get to the final.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see where it's going to go. Another 15 seconds to go until the circle will be shown. Russia is, I don't want to say split in half because I think it's only like 5 or 6 players who are down towards the south. But at the same time, you do have a good chunk of Ukrainian players over towards Impala. And well, this circle is, at least to me, first come, first serve.
Yeah, but there is that one caveat of Russia having a lot of control over the Minas area, right? I think with these circles, usually you see it end around Bendita, around Minas. So the fact that Russia already has a presence there means maybe they get a first dibs on the priority places. But we've seen at least, not necessarily in this series so far, but in the past where position generally isn't as important as it would be in like a squads or a duos tournament, because realistically, if you can find that chink in the armor and if you can hit it with 20, 25 players, you can break through a defensive line and find a way to win despite being in a bad position.
Yeah, well, let's see what their strat ends up being. I must say that despite the fact that the push down the hill last game didn't work, I kind of like to see it because we haven't really seen Ukraine do a lot of the kind of just send it strats. So despite the fact, as I said, that they didn't get down the hill the way they probably would have wanted to, I like the idea of trying to do it.
Yeah,
rather than just kind of stay split and lose players one by one.
It reminds me of what we saw in LATAM, where when we had Brazil versus Argentina in the final, for the first 2 games, they were sort of 90% there. They made like a minor mistake that cost Argentina the game and gave it to Brazil. And it kind of felt like the last game for Ukraine was the same with Russia. They got onto that hilltop. There was an opportunity where they could take that big fight and maybe swing the fact that they didn't have the circle back in their favor. And they just didn't quite find that last 10% of the favorable gunfight. And that was where Russia won. So, yeah, they are definitely coming into this game. I still think it's not necessarily a 50-50, but I can still see Ukraine winning this map at least.
Well, let's see. They do have to make a move. And I'm not quite sure where that move is going to be. They would, I guess they would want to stick around where they are now and wait for the Impala squad to kind of join forces with them.
Yeah, and what you can do is you can control the ridges sort of to the west of Bendita, because we do sometimes see it go that way. And those kind of positions, there's a lot of high ground. I'm not going to try and do it.
No, it's your turn. Come on, man. I thought we had a thing going here.
I'm not.
Can't do a dog sound?
I can, but I'm choosing not to.
Oh. That's not how that sound. That's not how that dog would sound. It's like a puppy. You don't want like, I don't know. What does a puppy sound like?
High pitch, generally speaking.
Oh, so just like
I can't do high sounds. My voice is very monotonous, but I'm not even going to try.
I could tell you're kind of tempted, but no. In the end, you backed off. That's fair enough. Who was it? We had. Oh no, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. I once met a guy when I was in school. Who he you know how when you have those, like you have different types of dogs. You have the dogs who are like the big retriever and German Shepherd type size dogs, and then you have the small ones that you can kind of fit in your backpack. I'm not talking about Chihuahuas and pugs and stuff, but it's like the small fluffy ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the way that they bark, they have like the full on Napoleon complex. They bark at everything all the time. there was a guy who could do that sound, like of a really, really irritated small dog. Like
is that impressive? I was about to say that's impressive, and then
it was also terrifying because he was the type of guy who'd walk up behind you and just start like going full on YOLO, I'm a dog about to trying to bite your leg off sound, and you get so scared.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah, it was also kind of
it's a little bit weird.
Yeah, I was jealous at him for a short time for being able to do that, and then I realized I couldn't. So then
you were jealous of him because he could bark like a dog.
Yes, or at least just imitate. Like it'd be good at imitations. I always thought that was fun.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That was quite a cool little skill to have. But it kind of feels. If we go back to the game for a sec, I know
there's PUBG.
Oh, no, I mean not at the moment.
Oh, no more dog discussions. Oh. Continue.
But we're sort of seeing that split, right, where Russia has Minas. And then Ukraine's taking the south side, taking the scraps almost of the hills that we were saying were pretty nice. So I kind of feel like this is going to be a slow one. I thought I looked at it, just did a shot there on someone that wasn't visible on the screen. I was about to get very confused.
That would have been pretty impressive.
Yeah. You've seen the cameras have been a little bit dodgy in the new patch on the Observer, where sometimes someone will just be shooting one way and killing out behind them. And then it's
it's like whenever they fly to a new character, the first couple of bullets aren't necessarily in the direction he's actually facing.
Yeah, it was Executor. I think actually they got the knock, and there's always a bit of a. I mean, you're never going to get a finish here, right? You get a knock or two, but the one thing you do here by hitting people in the chest, by hitting people in the helmet, is you get rid of their armor and you force them to use meds, which later on could actually have a really big impact. Because if you come up against someone that's got no helmet in a close range gunfight and you've got an AR, then you are going to win. You just hit one bullet on the head, you're just going to win it. But talking of win, that is a nice circle for Ukraine.
It does look pretty good. Maybe this is the chance for them to turn things around. As we've been saying, they do need 3 wins in a row in order to bring this one home and then go up against Turkey. And I don't know. I mean, how much homework can you do over the course of one evening when you got absolutely butchered? Like what it was yesterday was 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's not much you can learn from games where you just get smoked. I think you just have to chalk them and move on.
Was it 1 hour and 5 minutes for the BO3 or BO5? I feel like it was.
I think it was, yeah. I think it was less than that, actually. I think that was the whole broadcast. Yeah, if we take the 3 games, it was something like 20 minutes.
Exactly. Nice save.
Almost screwed it up. But yeah, so now those ridges that I was talking about, the crater east of Picardo, suddenly becomes a pretty strong position in this circle, because not only is it a really nice defensible position, it's actually also, there's a lot of high ground there that you can control. You can use it to pretty much control the whole area around Graveyard and make sure people can't sort of push towards you. It's very hard to push up that hilltop. But for now, Russia's they've got this sort of step. They've got the first step of getting towards there with this Graveyard position.
I think if you're Ukraine, you kind of have to make a stand soon. Because we've seen it so many times where teams go up against Russia and they keep on allowing them in. And in the end, at some point when you expect it the least, Russia just does divide, let's go and claim and like kind of start the fight. And then they'll catch their opponents off guard. They'll win the game off of that. So I feel like they need to try and hold them off, not already, then something like sometime soon.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's exactly what Russia did well last game, where they took control of the good positions in the circle and they didn't back off. There was a moment when it kind of felt like they were going to back off a big fight on the hilltop, but they actually, I think they recognized that they need to just pin Ukraine there, and then suddenly Ukraine had to make a really low percentage push. That's your teammate, Kissick. Calm down.
Oops.
But they recognized that they needed to just hold on. They did that perfectly and they won the game.
Well, let's see if they can win another one. Should they be able to do so, they will be making it to the finals. Wait, nice headshot coming in there. Stays alive with barely any HP, but will be able to get the first hit off and fire bullets for a little while longer, but he is completely surrounded.
I'm a little bit curious why this Ukrainian this little group minority of Ukrainian players is really making this push, because we've seen time and time again when these pushes happen and they get shut down, it becomes so hard for the other team to win. I think we just jumped off it, but Wade's, I think, just got a double spray down.
Wow.
least one trade coming in. But realistically, this is an opportunity here for Russia to push it to a 3 or 4 man advantage, which means later on they're going to be in a really good position.
Yeah, this is going to be a good start for them, and the exact start they would have wanted to. And as you can see, I mean, it's actually going the other way. I said I wanted to see Ukraine try and hold off. Right now, it's Russia holding off the I guess you can say the Impala split Ukrainian force, and you would think that now that they're losing so many players, that the remaining Ukrainian players would then say, you know what, okay, we didn't get to decide the battlefield, but let's take the fight to them. That's not happening at all, and now they've lost somewhere around like 6 or 7 players without really getting anything in return.
Yeah, this is where just these smaller pushes from a little almost special force group just really does not work, because you run up that hill. Normally, let's say it was a squads game where you're in a 2-2 split and you run up a hill to fight a team. Maybe there's gonna be 3 or 4 up there, and that's something. If you get the drop on the team, you can put it to a pretty equal fight. But if you're coming up, ow, that's gonna hurt for you. But if you're running up that hill and you're 5 people and you run up there and there's 15, yeah, you get the drop. Maybe you get 1 or 2 people not, but you're still 2.5 to 1, sometimes even 3 to 1, and the rest of your team just can't support you. So I really don't like that play from Ukraine, and realistically now it's Russia's game to lose with that 6-man advantage. But that circle, I think if there's one way Ukraine does win this, is the fact that they've got a lot of control over this circle so far.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Russia right now, waiting for 15 cars to crash. That's like the stalls there.
You wouldn't be surprised.
It's gonna happen. I mean, it's gonna happen. They are going to crash in somehow. Right now, they're kind of allowing for Ukraine to rotate back, which I think is a bad play. They have to start get going, and you can see they're making their moves out now.
Yeah, one thing they can do is if they swing on this western side and get control of the high ground on the sort of the southwest of Bandita area, where we see most of Ukraine now is starting to evacuate that area. I think maybe in preparation. But, there's an opportunity Russia can swing around, get the high ground, and yes, they don't have the hard cover from the compounds, but they then have pretty much full control of all the exposed areas, and Ukraine sort of gets locked in the houses and can't move out. It can't adapt to the next circle.
Well, oh well, oh well. What do you do here, Russia? I like the idea, I should say, of going west around up on the hillside, but I still feel like that's going to leave you somewhat exposed. You can kind of cut it halfway there, and that's exactly where we're looking right now on the ridge line here. There's not enough players on the high ground above to be a real threat to the players that decide to play the hill here, and they are still in like a pretty decent spot inside the circle from where they are.
Yeah, I think maybe that's where Russia's got a little bit lucky, and the fact that Ukraine did back off that hilltop means that they can then play the position where we see Melman. Because I think if Ukraine had, let's say, 10 players on the southern side, it becomes suddenly a lot more difficult for Russia to really make any move. And now they've got pretty much free liberty to play on the west and eastern edges and really maneuver around these compounds.
Let's see. Ukraine, they're looking to try and see if they can find some kills. They need to do a dent in the armor of the CIS or the Russian team now if they want to be able to hold up as they come pushing in. Now you can see the cars are coming in. The smokes are being thrown to try and limit vision, and they're sending at full speed forward.
Yeah, the siege is in progress here, and now that 9-man advantage is good, but Angie lands a lovely double nade here out the window. But realistically, they need more than that. They need a lot more kills if they want to bring back this man advantage, because currently it's 10 in favor of Russia. Yes, there's a lot of knocks, but Russia's still in the ascendancy.
And look at how well Russia has managed to kind of just surround these Ukrainian teams. They know they had them split into 2 compounds, and they're just taking half of the time.
Yeah, there is that. The one good thing for Ukraine right now is that the Russian team's not really in one position. They're still quite split up. So there's an opportunity where maybe they can get kills. But if you look at that kill feed, generally speaking, it's just all Russia. There's not really any support. I think we see a lot of 1v1s happening, and there's never any trade when the Ukrainian players go down, and that's just allowing Russia to really open up the defensive line. And now this compound is all Russian, as all the Ukrainian players in this compound are either knocked or dead.
And that's what we're talking about oftentimes when we say, if you can, you want to divide it into multiple engagements. These guys just took what was already a lead, but made it into a, let's say, 20 versus 5 engagement. And now they have another potential 20 versus 5 engagement coming up if they decide to all cross over now too. So abuse the opponent's splits. That in doing so can really get you like some good early, and I want to say mid kind of fight kills.
And this is where that high ground in the south meant that this whole eastern group of Ukrainian players could not support the rest of their teammates. You know, they had no real way to run over and help out because they'd get shot if they were in the field. So yeah, they pretty much split Ukraine in half, as you said, able to isolate each team, and suddenly it's come so much in their favor that there's only 7 Ukrainians alive versus 27 Russians now.
Yeah, I'm afraid this is going to be a GG unless if these guys can pull off one hell of a final stand. I'm not seeing it happening. Let's see if who won with the AOG and I believe it's the AOG and then ARP. Oh, did you see him? He did.
Just that's a teammate. There you go.
Like the effort, but it ain't gonna matter. Ukraine eliminated, annihilated, whatever you want to call it. Out they go as Russia takes home a 3-0, and I cannot help but think now. I am all for fun, especially in these type of tournaments, but I cannot help but think, what if the first game had been played quote unquote normally and Ukraine had won the first game?
I mean, I think it would have been a very different series.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I the way that they set it up, the way they're doing everything, I loved every single moment of it. I thought it was a great fight that I wouldn't have wanted to be without. Just from their perspective, from a competitive perspective, I feel like they could have potentially done something there.
But I kind of feel like this game, Ukraine was in a really good position. You know, they got that nice shift that we said where the hilltop would be quite strong. You know, they were in a tough, pretty decent spot. But then that northern group went for the crash. You know, went for the 5 versus 20 on the northern edge of the circle around Minas. And as soon as they were shut down and Russia had that man advantage, they could then control a lot more of the circle. You know, Ukraine then couldn't control both compounds and the hilltop, which meant that Russia could then just take control of the map, isolate those specific positions of Ukraine, and just start shutting them down. So I think kind of like game 2, there was 90% of the way there for Ukraine, and then they have that one moment where they make a mistake, and it kind of ruins the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was a tough one. The funny thing is, I mean, we've seen Ukraine go up against teams where they look really dominant. Then we see Russia go up against Ukraine where they can look really dominant, kind of like we saw today. And then we've also seen Russia get completely slaughtered by Turkey. So I'm like, yeah, is Turkey just that step above everyone else? Or is there a way now, having just played these 3 matches, getting in a good feeling, getting things going, is there a chance for Russia to defeat Turkey?
Well, I think we've seen the power of momentum over this series. We've seen, this series and the whole of Nations Royale, where it's very rare that we see teams go, 2 maps down and then lose, and then come back and bring it back. We saw yesterday, we had 2-0 to 2-2, and then Brazil eventually won it out 4-2 with that series. But generally speaking, we see 3-0s and 3-1s a lot. So I kind of feel like stopping one team from getting them. Let's say Turkey wins map 1. I think it's absolutely imperative that Russia then comes out and wins map 2. Otherwise, we might just see Turkey blow them over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's going to be it for the semifinals. The grand finale is going to be taking place here not too long from now. It's going to be live at 8:30 in 26 minutes. So do us a favor. Do whatever you need to do, but do make sure to be back in approximately a half hour where we'll get the best of 7 between Turkey and Russia. Russia lost 3-0 when they played against each other in the quarterfinals. Now they have a chance at revenge. Will they be able to bring it home? Who knows? We will find out in a moment. So do us a favor. See you again in just a half hour.